My name is Colton and this is Carmela. Thank you so much for being a part of our meeting today. This is so that we can gauge our dementia friends, champions, experiences, so we can learn a little bit about what's successful in your community, what's your connection to your community, or what's like your overall interest in your community. Could you introduce yourself?
I'm Shannon Nuspish. I'm co-founder with my daughter of Effingham Area Alzheimer's Awareness. We are a nonprofit that we started in 2014 to help caregivers and people living with dementia in our area. My mother-in-law was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2002. And so our family was close to her house where she lived. And so our family was part of her caregiving. And because of that experience, my daughter became a social worker and is now a licensed clinical social worker and works with dementia all the time. And she wanted to bring some of the knowledge that she learned, the information she learned into our area because she knew there was a lack of information in our area. And so that's why we started our organization.
Great. And then can you just tell me a little bit more about Effingham? How do people typically get involved in your community?
I'm working with Midland Area Agency on Aging to make Effingham a dementia-friendly community. And in fact, it is on the registry of dementia-friendly communities. I've been doing educational meetings to educate people about dementia because I know awareness of dementia, there's a stigma with dementia, and we're trying to erase that stigma. I've done talks for Rotary groups, church groups. I hold meetings in libraries. And now I'm doing the dementia-friendly training, which I've done banks and care facilities. So I think Effingham is a very receptive community. The library especially has helped us immensely with our nonprofit. We have started Forget-Me-Not resource centers in area libraries. And what that is books and DVDs and reminiscence toolkits that anybody can take out of the library, and they do not have to have a library card.
It sounds like you give a lot of talks, and there have been already a few spin-off organizations that have set up. How is it that residents get engaged? How do the dementia, people affected with dementia and Alzheimer's, how do they get engaged with these community members?
We do a lot of advertising in the newspaper, on Facebook, and on the radio for community events. When I give a community education program, I try to get the word out. I put in articles in the newspaper. Our newspapers are really good about getting that information out. I've been on the radio a couple of times to advertise some of our programs, and I put it in church bulletins that we're having a meeting, and that reaches quite a few people.
With these advertisements, do you have groups reach out to you for education and training?
We've had people reach out to us to do educational programs, and then I've also contacted organizations and agencies like my beauty shop that I go to. I can do dementia-friendly training for you, and they were very receptive. So when I do my dementia-friendly training, I try to give some specifics for their business. For example, with the beauty salons, I try to give them tips on what they can do to help somebody who comes in that has dementia.
What would you say is the biggest hindrance to getting people involved in your community? Or are there any policies or physical barriers that gets in the way?
I don't think it's policies or physical barriers so much as the stigma, because Effingham is a smaller community and a rural community. A lot of people don't want other people to know that they're dealing with dementia. We've offered support groups, different people, different organizations, but we just don't get a lot of people to come out to support groups.
Is there anything you would like your community or like the greater Chicago community or just anyone in Illinois to know about dementia and Alzheimer's to make them more comfortable with the whole diagnosis or situation?
It's nothing to be ashamed of, just a disease like cancer or heart disease or anything like that. And like heart disease and cancer, there are certain things you can do to help lower your risk, but it happens. And Don't be ashamed of it. Seek help, because I've been to many conferences and neurologists, and everybody says the more education you have, that it'll make you a better caregiver and help you accept the diagnosis better.
Is there any resource, tool that you just wish you had so that you could really improve your effectiveness at bringing more community members in or reducing that social stigma?
We have resources. We've applied for grants, and our local bank does a community cookout every spring and donates money to an organization. And we were blessed to have received funds from them a couple years ago, and that's helped immensely. It was quite a bit of money. And because we are a grassroots organization, we don't have a specific office. I work out of my home, and that's reduced our cost quite a bit. So it's letting people know that we're here, that there's organizations to help. Now in this area, there's a lot more organizations to help than when we were dealing with dementia in 2002. So just getting the word out.
Sounds like something more valuable than time and money is probably manpower, just if everything's word of mouth. And then, so on a more personal note, can you tell me about like a time or experience that made you really proud to be a dementia champion, or anything that you feel like would be a great story to share?
Through our organization, we've held conferences here in Effingham for professionals on dementia. And before COVID, we had, I think, 5 of them, and we had one last fall. And I think that's really helped the professional area really understand more about dementia, because I know there's a lack of that in professional training, professional schooling of dementia training. So I think that is one of the things that I'm really pleased that we've started in this area. And I've had so many people who in our community education programs who say, I'm so glad you're doing this. And I've had others say, oh, I wish you had been doing this when I was going through dementia with my mother or my father. I'm just really pleased that we are trying to help caregivers and people living with dementia. I always, in my meetings, I always say, I wish I had known when we were caring for my mother-in-law what I know now. She would have had a better quality of life, and I think the family would have had less stress.
Thank you for that. I definitely can understand from personal experience finding out about a resource like this after the fact. Can you tell me something that you find rewarding about being involved and being a point of contact and being someone in the community that has this information and this experience to share?
I feel that there's so many people out there that need this information. And if I can help one person at a meeting or at a dementia-friendly training, I feel that's important, because that one person touches so many other people. It's like a snowball effect. You touch one person and then they talk about it with their family. So I think as many people as I can touch is important.
I hope you continue to learn more and share more of what you learn with others. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to meet with us today.
I'm just pleased that we can get the word out and hopefully get as many dementia friends and dementia friendly champions as we can.